Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever stopped to think about what actually happens in that split second after you tap your card for your morning coffee? Or, when you upload a picture to Instagram? The magic behind all of that? Well, it's something called information systems. Now, I know it sounds a little technical, right? But trust me, it's the invisible engine running our world. Today, we're going to peek behind the curtain, and I've got a feeling you'll see your phone in a whole new light after this. So let's dive right in. All right, let me kick things off with a quick question for you. When you hear the term information systems, what comes to mind? Is it something for giant corporations, or maybe just for the super techie people, something you don't really touch in your day-to-day life? If you think that, you're not alone. A lot of us do. But here's the thing. The reality? It's the complete opposite. You're using dozens of these systems literally every single day. Think about it. The second you wake up and scroll through your social media, that's one. Buying something on Amazon? Yep. Pulling cash from an ATM? That's a big one. Even just booking a movie ticket online. Every single one of those actions is you directly interacting with a really complex information system. They are the hidden engines that make our modern lives work. Okay, so here's what we've got on tap today. First up, we're going to talk about why you, yes you, are already an IS user. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty and decode what these systems are all about. After that, we'll take a little tour of the different types of information systems out there. And finally, we'll zoom out and see the massive impact all this is having on everything. All right, let's get into our first section, why you're an IS user. And really, this is all about why getting a handle on this stuff is like having a secret weapon in your career. Seriously. In today's world, it's not just a nice to have, it's essential. Doesn't matter if you're just starting out or running the whole company, this knowledge gives you a huge advantage. So, what does it actually mean to be an informed user? Well, think of it this way. Instead of just using the tools you're given, you start to understand what's going on behind the scenes. Suddenly, you're the one who can give smart feedback to make your company's apps better. You can help choose the right IT tools for your team, not just the ones with the flashiest ads. You see new tech and you don't just go, ooh, shiny. You think, hey, this could really help us. It means you can actually improve how your whole organization performs. And hey, if you ever want to start your own business, this knowledge is practically your foundation. It's about becoming an active player, not just a bystander. Okay, section 2, decoding information systems. So now we know why this stuff matters. Let's dig into what it is. At the core of it all, every single system are 3 key concepts. It's a simple progression, from data to information and finally to knowledge. First step, we have data. The best way to think about data is just raw facts. That's it. They're just numbers, names, figures with no context. Imagine a list of names, or today's temperature, or a sales number like 350. By itself, 350 means absolutely nothing, right? It's just a number hanging out there. That's data. But then we get to information. This is where things get interesting. Information is what happens when you take that raw data and give it some meaning, some context. So our lonely number, 350, if we add the context units sold today, boom, it's no longer just data, it's now information. Or think about a long list of student test scores. That's data. But when you calculate the class average, that average score is information, because now it actually tells you something useful. And finally, we've reached the top of the pyramid, knowledge. Knowledge is about taking that information and using it to gain insight and make actual decisions. So let's go back to our class average. If you see that the average grade has been slowly dropping for the past 3 years, that's a piece of information. You can use that to form knowledge. Hey, maybe our teaching method isn't working as well anymore. And that knowledge leads you to a decision, like trying a new approach. See the flow? Data becomes information, which then leads to knowledge and action. So the big question is, how do we actually do that? How do we turn a bunch of raw numbers into a smart business decision? Well, that is exactly the job of what we call a computer-based information system, or a CBIS. Now, this diagram might look a little busy, but the idea behind it is super simple. Think of a CBIS as the engine that does all the work. It sucks in all that raw data, uses technology to process it, and then spits out useful information and knowledge that helps people make those all-important decisions. And if you were to open up the hood of any of these systems, you'd find the same 6 core parts. You've got the physical stuff, the hardware. Then the programs that make it run, the software. You need a place to keep everything, that's the database. And you need a way to connect it all, which is the network. Then you need rules for how to use it all, those are the procedures.
But the last piece of the puzzle, and honestly, the most important one, it's people. You, me, everyone. Without us, the most expensive, powerful computer system in the world is just a very expensive paperweight.
All right, section 3, a tour of IS types. So we've got our 6 basic components, right? The best way to think of them is like Lego bricks. You can use the same set of bricks to build all sorts of different things. And it's the same with information systems. They're not all one size fits all. Different systems are built for different jobs inside a company. So let's take a quick tour and see what they look like. Now, this image here is a fantastic way to picture it. It's like a big temple, right? Down at the very bottom, you have the foundation. That's all your basic IT stuff, your servers and networks. Then as you move up, you get these different systems that handle specific tasks for different parts of the business. And then way up at the top, that's where you find the systems that help the top bosses make those big strategic decisions. It all builds on itself. So let's start at the bottom of that temple with the Transaction Processing System, or TPS. You can think of the TPS as the absolute workhorse of the organization. Its job is to handle all the routine, day-to-day stuff that happens over and over and over again. We're talking about things like when you use an ATM, or when a cashier scans your groceries, or when you book a flight online. These systems have to be fast, they have to be reliable, and their main job is to capture every single one of those transactions. Okay, moving up a level, we've got Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, ERPs for short. Now these are a game changer. Think of an ERP as the central nervous system for the entire company. Before these existed, it was honestly a mess. The finance department had its own system, the sales team had another, HR was on its own little island, nothing talked to each other. An ERP system comes in and just smashes all those walls down. It creates one single massive database so that literally everyone in the company is looking at the same information.
But businesses don't exist in a vacuum. The really powerful systems today are the ones that reach outside the company's walls. We call these interorganizational systems. They're all about connecting with suppliers and customers. So when a company's system talks to a supplier's system, maybe to automatically reorder parts, that's business to business, or B2B. And when their system connects directly to you, like when you're shopping on their website, that's business to consumer, or B2C. This is what makes the modern supply chain so incredibly fast and efficient.
And that brings us to the very top of our temple, Business Intelligence Systems, or BI. If the TPS is the workhorse, the BI system is the brains of the entire operation. What they do is take all that raw data collected by all the other systems we just talked about, and they turn it into smart insights for the decision makers. The perfect example is a dashboard for a sales manager. Instead of waiting a month for a report, they can see right now what's selling and what's not. It lets them spot trends and fix problems in a heartbeat.
Okay, on to our last section, and this is a big one, the impact of IS. We've looked at what these systems are and how they work inside a company. But now let's zoom all the way out. What does all of this mean for us, for our jobs, for our society? How is this technology really changing everything? Just take a look at a manager's job, for example. Before all this IT, a manager would spend so much time buried in paperwork, right? Manually counting things, creating reports by hand. It was all very tedious. But now, information systems have automated most of that boring stuff. And that frees up the manager to focus on what people are actually good at, thinking strategically, solving complex problems, and planning for the future. It's totally transformed the role. Now, of course, when you talk about automating tasks, there's always that one big question that comes up, and it's an important one. Is all this technology going to eliminate our jobs? It's a real fear people have, especially when we hear about things like AI and automation. And the best way to answer that is it's not so much about elimination as it is about transformation. Sure, some jobs do change or disappear. Think about how many bank tellers there used to be before ATMs. But at the same time, IT creates brand new jobs that didn't even exist before. Who would have thought 20 years ago that you could be a social media manager or a cybersecurity expert? The entire nature of work is shifting. Old roles fade, but new and often more skilled roles are born. And the impact goes way, way beyond just our 9-to-5 jobs. Information systems have completely rewired our society. They're the reason so many of us can now work from home. They've changed how we do our banking, how we learn new things through e-learning. They're making huge waves in healthcare with things like telemedicine. They're creating amazing new opportunities for people with disabilities. And yeah, they are absolutely the driving force behind the robot revolution you hear about in factories and warehouses. So, I want to leave you with this one last thought. This whole robot revolution, it's not some far-off sci-fi movie anymore. It's happening right now. And it's all being powered by the information systems we've been talking about today. So the question for all of us isn't if this is happening, it is. The real question is, what's our role going to be in it? Because by understanding this stuff, by becoming informed users, we can do more than just react. We can actually help shape where it all goes. Thanks so much for watching.